smell roasted meat, hear lute music, or see friendly innkeepers wiping wooden mugs with clean white cloths. No. You would smell burning tallow, rotting straw, spilled ale, wet wool, sweat, smoke thick enough to sting your eyes, and something else you can't quite name, something metallic, something old, asterisk asterisk. And you would quickly realize why priests warned people that taverns were the devil's second church. Now, let's walk in. The door that should not open. It begins with a door so low even a child must duck. Its hinges groan with a sound like bending bones. Inside, the air is warm, humid, and alive with smoke, noise, whispers, secrets, and desperate laughter that always ends too quickly. Nothing looks polished. Nothing smells clean. And everything feels dangerously alive. A tavern in medieval Europe was not simply a place to drink. It was the unofficial courtroom, the accidental hospital, the rumor factory, the job market, the gambling den, the brothel, the bank, the shelter, the battlefield, and sometimes the grave. And the moment you step inside, you understand why. The floor that moves. You look down first. Everyone does. The floor is not wood. Not stone. Not even dirt. It is layers and layers of crushed reeds, straw, spilled beer, old urine, ash, crumbs, and whatever fell yesterday, or 10 years ago. The floor shifts under your feet like a thick, damp sponge. Some taverns clean this floor once a year. Some never cleaned it at all. In the corner, a drunk man drops his mug. It sinks slightly into the straw and vanishes. No one looks surprised. The air that doesn't let you breathe. A medieval tavern ceiling was low, so low that smoke from the fire never fully escaped. Your eyes water immediately. What fills the air? Smoke from oak or peat. Steam from boiling ale. Sweat evaporating from bodies packed shoulder to shoulder. The sour smell of wool cloaks soaked in rain. The sharp bite of iron tools heating near the fire. And the unmistakable scent of bodies that have not bathed since last Easter. Men cough, spit, laugh, argue. Women shout over the noise, carrying jugs heavier than their arms. Somewhere above, the rafters squeak, pigeons, rats, or both. The sound of desperate people. Hollywood lies. Medieval taverns weren't filled with music every night. What you really hear. Dice clacking against wood. A knife striking the table. The slam of a mug. Boots dragging across straw. A baby crying in someone's arms. A man praying under his breath. Another man planning something illegal. And conversations that stop the moment you walk too close. No one trusts strangers. Everyone watches. The tavern keeper who knows everything. Behind the counter stands the only person who truly understands this world. The alewife. Sometimes a man owned the tavern, but just as often it was run by a woman, tough, intelligent, sharp-eyed, and completely unafraid. She has seen king's soldiers and cut purses, monks and mercenaries, beggars and butchers, all drinking under the same smoky ceiling. She doesn't smile. Not because she's unfriendly, because smiling too much in a medieval tavern meant weakness, and weakness meant someone tries to take advantage. She knows every secret in this room. She knows who will leave drunk, who will leave angry, and who may not leave at all. She hands you a wooden cup. It is scratched, dark, and permanently damp. The drink that could kill you. What's inside the cup is not beer the way Americans imagine it. Medieval ale was warm, thick, cloudy, sour, and only safe to drink because water was worse. There is no alcohol regulation, no guarantee of purity. Some taverns stretched ale with river water, which meant parasites. Some added herbs, which meant hallucinations. Some added chalk to make it look pale. Some added soot to make it look dark. And yet, everyone drinks it. The tables where history was made. Sit long enough at a medieval tavern table, and you'll witness something extraordinary. Societies forming in miniature, asterisk asterisk. The rich drink in one corner. The poor drink everywhere else. Farmers gossip about shortages. Merchants trade rumors from the road. Soldiers brag or cry. Women exchange warnings about unsafe streets. Travelers whisper about strange lights in the woods or entire villages buried by plague. If you listen closely, history flows through these tables long before it appears in any official chronicle. Tonight, two men argue about a king's new tax. Tomorrow, half the town will be talking about it. Next week, it becomes a riot. By next month, the city is burning. But it starts here, over ale, in the smoke, between people who have nothing left to lose. The secret rooms. Not every tavern has private back rooms. But the ones that do, those are not for polite company. Behind a heavy curtain, debts are forgiven. Debts are enforced. Forbidden deals are made. Stolen goods exchange hands. Mercenaries negotiate their price. And sometimes, someone disappears forever. The tavern is the heart of the medieval underworld. And everyone knows it. The food you should never eat. A medieval tavern meal was simple, and sometimes deadly. Typical menu. Stale rye bread. Watery pottage. Onions. Dried fish. Questionable meat pie. If the tavern keeper offered fresh meat, that meant it had been dead for less than 2 days. The best food was served to wealthy travelers. The worst food was served to everyone else. In the corner, a pot boils. You don't know what's inside. No one does. The night when everything changes. As the hours pass, the tavern shifts from noisy to dangerous. The more people drink, the more stories come out, some true, some lies, some the kind that can get a person hanged. A hooded traveler enters. People turn away. A man at the table stops talking mid-sentence. Someone recognizes him. Someone else pretends not to. The alewife's eyes narrow. Suddenly the tavern feels colder, even with the fire roaring. This is the moment where every medieval tavern becomes what it is truly known for. A crossroads of fate, asterisk asterisk. Where lives change. Where secrets surface. Where violence erupts. Where history quietly slides into place, unnoticed except by a few. And this is only the first night. This is the beginning of the journey. Medieval taverns were not comfortable, not clean, and definitely not safe. But they were alive, messy, unpredictable, pulsing with energy, full of real people with real fears and desperate dreams. And if you stay long enough, you will witness something the historians never tell you. Because the tavern remembers. And tonight, it remembers you. The tavern where truth hides. The mood inside the tavern shifts the moment the hooded traveler enters. It happens quietly, so quietly that a modern visitor might miss it. But in the medieval world, every gesture is a warning, every silence a message. A dice game stops mid-throw. A merchant closes the lid of his wooden chest. A pair of soldiers exchange a glance, not fearful, but respectful. The alewife doesn't greet the newcomer, doesn't nod, doesn't even blink. She simply turns around and reaches for a jug that she never uses unless absolutely necessary. A jug reserved for very important guests, or very dangerous ones. The hooded traveler. You notice things about him before he even speaks. His boots are old but expensive. His cloak is patched but made of cloth that only traveling clerics or royal messengers wear. His hands, what little you can see, are calloused like a laborer's, yet his movements are precise, careful, deliberate. He is a man who pretends to be ordinary. Which means he isn't. He takes a seat at a small table near the wall. Not in the shadows, not in the open, exactly where he can see everything. A professional. The kind of man who carries dangerous news, or dangerous money. The aroma of secrets. Ale is poured, mugs slide across tables, yet the tavern does not return to normal. People lean closer to one another, whispering as though the traveler has brought an invisible storm. Rumors grow faster than fire in dry straw. Some say he is a spy. Some say he rides for the king. Some say he carries a list of men who will not live to see the next moon. But the truth is never spoken aloud. Not yet. Instead, the alewife moves toward his table. Her steps are silent. Her expression unreadable. She puts down the jug. He doesn't look at her. He simply says, "You still keep the old place warm." Her reply is soft. "And you still bring winter with you." No one else hears it. But you do. And suddenly, you realize this tavern has a history far older, far more dangerous, than its broken beams and smoky walls suggest. The room above the rafters. The fire crackles. The smoke stings your eyes. And somewhere above, footsteps move across the wooden loft. You look up. You see nothing at first, just low beams, cobwebs, and hanging herbs drying for the winter. Then you notice it. A small square cut into one of the rafters. A spy hole. A peephole. A listening post. Someone is watching the room from above. This is no ordinary inn. This is no ordinary night. This tavern is a crossroads used by travelers, smugglers, spies, informants, merchants, priests, and men who shift the balance of power in kingdoms without ever stepping inside a castle. In medieval Europe, taverns were the internet of the Middle Ages, where information traveled faster than horses. And tonight, something important is happening. The stranger's bag. The traveler reaches under his cloak and places a small leather satchel on the table. Every eye in the room follows the movement. The bag is old, heavy, secured with two metal clasps, smeared with mud from far away, and shaped, oddly. It is not the round shape of a coin purse. Not the flat shape of a map case. Not the square shape of a merchant's ledger. It is something else. The alewife notices. Her jaw tightens just slightly. She says, without looking at the bag, "You should eat before you show anyone that thing." He replies quietly, No one here is hungry enough for this. But he is wrong. You can feel hunger all around you, but not for food. People are hungry for information. For power. For survival. Curiosity in medieval Europe is not an emotion. It is a weapon. The fight in the corner. Then it happens. Not because of the traveler. Not because of the bag. But because in medieval taverns, violence is always one careless breath away. Two men shove each other near the hearth. Both drunk. One accuses the other of cheating at dice. The other spits on the floor and mutters something about the man's mother. An insult like that in the Middle Ages is not an insult, it is a declaration. Chairs scrape. Mugs fall. A bench tips over. Someone shouts. Knives down. Knives down. Which means, of course, knives are already out. Steel flashes. A woman screams. A man tries to break the fight and gets elbowed in the teeth. But before the fight explodes, the traveler speaks for the first time loud enough for the room to hear. His voice is calm. Controlled. Cold. If you spill blood tonight, all of you will regret it by morning. Everyone freezes. Everyone. Even the fighters. Not because they fear him, but because they fear the consequences of whatever he knows. The alewife steps into the center of the room, holding a wooden baton carved with old markings. Not decorative. Symbolic. A sign that she has authority recognized by the local guild, the sheriff, the traveling clergy, and even the criminals. She slams the baton on the table. Thud. Silence. Even the fire seems to stop crackling. The men slowly put away their knives. The traveler nods once. The alewife nods back. The room exhales. The tension breaks. But only for a moment. Because the real danger has not yet begun. The map under the table. The traveler reaches under the satchel and pulls out, nothing visible. But you hear the sound. Paper. Real parchment. Thick. Old. Expensive. No one has parchment unless they carry knowledge worth killing for. He slides it across the table toward the alewife, hidden from the rest of the room. But you see it. A map. Not of roads. Not of towns. Not of borders. A map of something older. Something forgotten. Something people would pay to hide. Or die to protect. The alewife's face changes. Her eyes widen. She whispers. You found it? He nods. And now, others are coming for it. The tavern door creaks open. The wind outside howls. The fire flickers. And the tavern door, that low, bone-creaking door, opens. 3 silhouettes appear in the frame. Tall. Armored. Unsmiling. Not soldiers of the king. Not knights of the church. Something worse. Something that should never walk into a place like this unless the world is about to change. The men who should not be here. The doorway fills with shadows. 3 men step inside, not bothering to duck under the low frame. That alone tells you something is wrong. No one in this part of the kingdom is tall enough to walk through a tavern door without bending. Except soldiers from far away. Except mercenaries trained for violence. Except men who don't care about tavern rules, local customs, or the people watching them with tightening throats. They walk in like wolves entering a sheep pen. The door closes behind them with a heavy thud. The armor that isn't local. Their armor is unfamiliar. Most soldiers in this region wear padded gambesons, leather jerkins, simple iron caps. But these men wear long, segmented cuirasses, blackened pauldrons, curved gauntlets engraved with symbols, and helmets designed to hide the face completely. Not church knights. Not royal guards. Not border patrol. These are private soldiers. Paid killers. The kind kings use when they want deniability. The kind church officials hire when things must not be written down. The kind merchants send after debts too large to forgive. The kind who don't leave witnesses unless paid to. Every person in the tavern knows this instantly. The room stiffens. Breathing grows shallow. The alewife moves one step backward, not out of fear, but to narrow the angle between herself, the traveler, and the intruders. Positioning herself strategically. Preparing. The leader. The tallest of the three steps forward. His boots echo across the uneven straw-covered floor. He removes his helmet. Not to show respect, but because he enjoys people seeing his face. Seeing what fear looks like before he causes it. His face is lined like a dried riverbed. Not with age, but with hundreds of scars. Thin, white, neatly healed cuts. The kind earned from years of blade training. His eyes are small, alert, unblinking. Predator eyes. He surveys the room, not rushing. He wants everyone to know. I am in control. Then he says, in a low voice. We're looking for a man who arrived before us. He doesn't say a name. He doesn't describe a face. Which means he already knows exactly who he wants. Which means this is not a search. This is a hunt. The tavern holds its breath. The dice players freeze, their hands hovering over the table. A mother clutches her child closer. A blacksmith shifts his weight slightly, ready to defend himself though he knows he wouldn't survive. The alewife keeps her voice steady. Travelers come and go. You'll need to be more specific. The leader's smile is thin and humorless. Not necessary. We already see him. The stranger does not look up. He continues sipping his ale slowly, as if he is alone in the room. The leader approaches his table. Two mercenaries stay near the door, blocking every exit. The tavern becomes a trap. The map they want. The mercenary leader stops just 2 steps from the traveler. He does not draw his weapon. Not yet. Men like him don't waste steel unless they need to. He speaks. You've traveled a long way with something that doesn't belong to you. The traveler finally looks up. His eyes are calm. Funny. I was about to say the same. The mercenary smirks. The map. Give it to me. A whisper runs through the tavern. People tighten their hands around mugs, tables, anything they can hold. A map is not just parchment. Maps mean buried wealth, forbidden land, military secrets, ancient ruins, cursed places, lost knowledge, escape routes, or hidden power. And people kill for power. The alewife steps forward. Before the traveler can respond, the alewife speaks sharply. No business of that kind is settled under my roof. The leader turns his head toward her slowly. His eyes narrow. Woman, stay out of this. The room tenses. Not because he insulted her, everyone insults tavern keepers. But because he used the tone men use right before they commit something irreversible. The alewife does not back down. She lifts the wooden batten again, revealing the carvings more clearly now under the firelight. Old symbols. Guild symbols. Sheriff's marks. Royal seals. All on one batten. Meaning. She has legal authority from every side. Even mercenaries know better than to ignore that. The leader pauses, frowning. He didn't expect resistance from a tavern keeper. He glances at the batten and says, "We're not here for you. Only for him." The traveler mocks them. The traveler sets down his ale. Still calm. Still collected. He says, "If you want the map, take it. But you won't leave this place with it." The mercenary's eyebrow twitches. "Are you threatening me?" "No, asterisk asterisk," the traveler replies. "I'm warning you. There's a difference." A murmur spreads through the tavern. People move subtly. Not to escape, but to protect themselves from what they know is coming. Weapons aren't drawn. Not yet. But hands slide toward hidden daggers, belt knives, iron hooks, even wooden clubs. Not to help the traveler. Not to fight the mercenaries. But to survive. The first move. The mercenary leader steps closer. 1 step. 2 steps. He reaches toward the map. And in that instant, just as his fingers brush the edge of the parchment, the traveler flips the table. "Get it." One soldier lunges forward. The alewife moves faster. She slams her batten against the soldier's chest. It echoes like a hammer striking a shield. He stumbles backward. The room explodes in noise. Not toward the mercenary. Toward the fire. The parchment flies through the air. Lit for only a second by the firelight. Before landing near the hearthstones. Not in the fire. But close enough to make everyone panic. The mercenary snarls. He stumbles backward. The room explodes in noise. Shouts. Chairs falling. Mugs shattering. Steel scraping wood. Straw shifting under scrambling boots. And through it all, the traveler moves like a shadow slipping between lanterns. Controlled. Efficient. Dangerous. The mercenaries realize something too late. They expected a messenger. They found a fighter. The map touches the hospitality of fire. One corner of the parchment curls toward the flame. Not burning, but warming. The symbols on it reflect the firelight. Symbols that no one in the tavern recognizes. Except the traveler. And the woman hiding above the rafters. Yes, she's still there. Still watching. Still waiting. For what? For the right moment. The fire that almost ate the truth. The parchment flutters on the stones beside the hearth, dangerously close to the open flame. The entire tavern watches it. Not the mercenaries. Not the traveler. Not the weapons being drawn. The map. Because they all know one thing. Whatever this fight is about. Whatever these men came for. Whatever the traveler risked his life to protect. It's on that parchment. And for a brief, breathless moment, the whole tavern freezes. As if the entire world hangs by one curling edge of drying animal skin. Then, a foot stomps down on the map. But not the travelers. Not the mercenaries. Not the alewives. A new foot. A soft but steady one. The girl from the rafters. A figure drops soundlessly from the loft above. Not a child. Not a grown woman. Someone in between. Maybe 16, maybe 20. Dirty blonde hair braided tightly. Hands wrapped in cloth strips to protect her skin. Eyes sharp and bright like a fox trapped in a world full of wolves. She lands so quietly that even the mercenaries recoil in surprise. Her boot pins the map firmly to the floor. Then she looks at the traveler. Not with fear. With recognition. And anger. Who is she? The entire tavern is stunned. People whisper. Is that her? Has she been here the whole time? She shouldn't be down here. That's the alewife's girl, isn't it? No, the alewife doesn't have a daughter. She's the orphan they shelter. She's a thief. I've seen her pick pockets. No, she works for the guild. She spies for the sheriff. She spies for no one. She spies for everyone. Rumors spill out like ale from a cracked barrel. But the truth shines in her eyes. She knows this map. She has seen it before. She has been waiting for it. Maybe years. The mercenary leader takes notice. He studies her with curiosity instead of rage. This is unexpected. He tilts his head slightly, then says, "Little mouse, move your foot." Her answer is immediate. Sharp. Steady. Come move it yourself. The mercenary blinks. For the first time tonight, someone has spoken to him without fear. The traveler watches the girl carefully. The alewife's face drains of color. She whispers, almost too quietly to hear. Not now, please, not now. But it's too late. Everything is already in motion. The girl speaks truth no one expected. The girl bends down, picks up the edge of the parchment, and holds it up to the firelight. The entire tavern gasps. Not because she's exposing the map, but because of what's on it. At first glance, it looks like a simple chart. But then you notice. Old symbols carved into mountains. Lines tracing forest paths no longer existing. Circles marking something, forbidden. And faint writing in a script older than any kingdom. It is not a treasure map. It is something deeper. Older. More dangerous. The girl says. You three, asterisk asterisk, she nods at the mercenaries. Don't know what this is. The leader narrows his eyes. And you do. She smiles slightly. Not a warm smile. A knowing one. Better than him. She points to the traveler. Silence slams over the room. Every eye swings between the two. The traveler's calm expression cracks. Just slightly. Like ice under a too heavy step. The traveler finally reacts. He rises slowly from his chair. His voice, usually smooth and collected, is colder now. You weren't supposed to see this. The girl laughs, quiet, bitter. I saw it before you did. Before any of you. I saw it when my real father still lived. A ripple of shock passes through the tavern. Even the alewife closes her eyes. As if a truth she hoped would stay buried has clawed its way back to the surface. The mercenary leader raises an eyebrow. Now he's interested. Your father. The girl nods once. Then looks directly at the traveler. Tell them. Tell them who drew the first version of this map. The traveler hesitates. Just for a heartbeat. But that is enough. The mercenary leader grins. Well. Don't keep us waiting. The traveler's jaw clenches. His voice is strained. Your father did. Gasps. Whispers. A mug drops from someone's trembling hand. The alewife whispers. Child, stop. But she doesn't. She looks at the mercenaries. Then at everyone else in the tavern. Then at the traveler. And she says the words that shatter the room. My father drew the map because he found what you're all looking for. The mercenary leader's face changes. He loses his smile. Not out of anger. Out of understanding. And a hint of fear. Impossible. The girl steps closer to the fire. The map glows in her hand like a living thing. Her voice is soft, but every person hears it clearly. My father found a lost road. The one people say leads to the forgotten city beneath the mountains. People whisper. The buried city. The silver tunnels. The forbidden valley. The ancient gate. No, that's myth. It can't be real. Her father died for that rumor. No, he was murdered. Murdered. The word echoes. The girl looks at the traveler again. Her voice cracks for the first time. And you know who killed him.
The tavern turns to the traveler. Every head swivels. Even the mercenaries stop moving. The alewife's eyes fill with tears. The traveler stares at the girl. Long. Almost painfully long. Then he says quietly. Yes. The confession that starts a war ***. The moment the traveler speaks that single word. That quiet, heavy, breaking word. Yes. The entire tavern changes. The air feels colder. The fire seems quieter. Even the mercenaries, men who kill for coin without remorse, look unsettled. Because what the traveler just admitted is not small. Not accidental. It is the kind of confession people die for in the medieval world. The girl freezes. Her hand tightens around the map. Not to protect it, but to keep herself from shaking. Her voice trembles. Then say his name. The traveler closes his eyes. He does not want to say it. The weight of the truth sits on him like armor he never asked for. But she waits. The mercenaries wait. The tavern waits. Finally, the traveler whispers. Your father was killed by the same men who sent those mercenaries. The girl steps back as if struck across the face. The tavern erupts in whispers. Those mercenaries? Then the killers are here? Is she next? Is the traveler lying? Is the map cursed? No, this is politics. This is beyond politics. This is church business. This is royal business. No, this is something worse. Fear spreads in the room like rising smoke. The mercenary leader tightens his grip on his sword hilt, glaring at the traveler. You talk too freely for a dead man. The traveler's eyes sharpen. You can threaten me, but you don't know what you're carrying. The mercenary snarls. A map. The traveler shakes his head slowly. Not a map. A warning. Silence. Heavy. Dangerous. Tight as a bowstring. The girl steps between them. The mercenary leader reaches for the parchment.
Before he can touch it, the girl moves. Not away, but forward. Placing herself directly between the traveler and the 3 armored killers. Her voice cuts the tension. If any of you touch this map, I'll throw it into the fire. The mercenary freezes. The entire tavern gasps. Because she means it. Everyone sees it in her eyes. She has the look of someone with nothing left to lose. And that is the most dangerous kind of person in the medieval world. The mercenary's misstep. The mercenary leader tries a different weapon. Not steel. Words. Girl, do you even know what's on that parchment? She nods once. I know exactly what's on it. She lifts the map slightly toward the firelight. The symbols shimmer. The mercenary steps closer. Then you know your father died for nothing. Those ruins don't exist. Her voice becomes ice. If they don't exist, why are you here? The mercenary doesn't answer. He can't. The truth traps him. The traveler finally explains. He steps forward, keeping his hands visible, calming the air around him. Her father wasn't the first to draw this map. He was the last. The girl turns to him sharply. What do you mean, the last? The traveler points to one of the faint symbols on the parchment. A spiral. Barely visible. Drawn in ink that doesn't match the rest. These marks appear in manuscripts from 5 different kingdoms. They show up in monastic archives, in old merchant ledgers, even in royal letters. A man from the corner whispers. What does the spiral mean? The traveler answers. A location. Someone else asks. A treasure? No. The traveler says. Not treasure. His voice lowers. Almost a whisper. A door. The room freezes again asterisk asterisk. A door. Not a gate. Not a passage. Not a hidden path. A door. And in medieval folklore, a door is never just a piece of wood. Sometimes it's a boundary. Sometimes it's an entrance. Sometimes it's a warning. Sometimes it's a mistake. People swallow hard. A blacksmith speaks aloud what everyone is thinking. A door to what? The traveler looks at the mercenaries, then at the girl. Then he says. To the city under the mountains. A hush drops over the tavern like a burial cloth. Someone mutters. That city is a myth. Just a tale for scaring travelers. An old wives' legend. No kingdom claims it. No church records mention it. And the girl says. Because they erased it. The alewife can't hold it any longer. The alewife finally steps in. Her voice trembles. Not with fear. With old pain. Enough. Both of you. But neither the girl nor the traveler looks at her. Because the next truth is heavier than all the others. The girl turns to the alewife. Her voice hurts. You promised to tell me when the time came. The alewife nods slowly. Tears gather. Her voice breaks. I hoped the time would never come. The mercenaries draw steel. The mercenary leader finally loses patience. He draws his sword. The sound is cold, metallic, final. You talk of myths and doors. He growls. But the only thing I see is a tavern full of fools. He raises the blade. Points it at the girl. The map. Now. And before anyone can move. The front door bursts open. Wind slams through the tavern. Rain pours in. Lightning flashes. And in the doorway stands a figure in a soaked dark cloak, breathing heavily, gripping something wrapped in cloth. A messenger? A survivor? A hunter? No one knows. Not yet. But the traveler recognizes him instantly. His face drains of color. He whispers. Then it has already begun. The secret book of the Tavern Guild. By the time the sixth night bell echoed through the crooked alleys, Aldrich felt he finally understood medieval taverns. He was wrong. He had only scratched the surface. Because on the sixth evening, in the dim back room of the Drunken Comet, the tavern keeper Marwan placed a thick, leather-bound ledger on the table. Its cover was scarred, heat-stained, almost alive with age. This, she whispered, sliding it toward him, is the guild book of the alehouses of Albion. If you truly want to know what medieval taverns were like, you must read the rules that shaped them. Aldrich's breath caught. The Guild of Tavern Keepers was legendary, so secretive that even kings rarely saw its records. He opened the book. Dust spiraled upward like ancient spirits awakening. Inside, written in tight brown ink, were the real laws, nothing like the sanitized versions found in archives. Rule 1: the tavern must never be silent. It wasn't about joy or entertainment. Silence meant danger. A quiet tavern was a perfect place for eavesdropping spies, plotting rebels, or paid assassins. To protect themselves, tavern keepers hired loud drunks, traveling musicians, even children with wooden rattles, anything to create constant noise. Aldrich imagined every fun medieval tavern scene he had ever read, and realized it was all engineered chaos. Rule 9: never serve wine before testing it on iron. Marwan explained softly. Poisoners loved wine. Ale was too bitter to hide the taste. But wine. She tapped the page. Dip an iron spoon in the drink. If it blackened, throw the whole barrel away. Aldrich stared. In medieval movies, taverns were reckless. But here, every sip might have been someone's last. Rule 14: all tavern keepers must maintain at least *3 exits. That one chilled him. Not for fire. For soldiers. Raids were common, royal guards searching for fugitives. Tax collectors demanding unpaid fees, or church officials hunting sinful gatherings. Taverns needed escape tunnels, hidden back doors, or collapsing shelves that disguised exits. Aldrich suddenly understood why so many taverns were built like mazes. Rule 22: a tavern must keep a night account, a list of every secret traded inside. Aldrich blinked. You kept everything. Marwan nodded. Drunken confessions, merchant deals, nobles' private sins, forbidden rumors. Taverns were not just places to drink, they were Europe's first intelligence networks. Aldrich realized tavern keepers didn't survive because they were good cooks. They survived because they knew things. Things the powerful desperately wanted to hide. Rule 27, a tavern must pay the dead lantern tax. Aldrich frowned. What's that? Marwan exhaled slowly. When a traveler dies inside the tavern, disease, fight, poisoning, anything, the keeper must pay a tax to the church for the cleansing of the soul, and to the city guard to keep quiet about the cause. He swallowed. Suddenly, the laughter outside sounded different. Almost forced. How many died? He asked. Marwan didn't answer. She didn't need to. Rule 40, no stranger may sleep within 10 steps of another stranger. It wasn't superstition. It was survival. Bandits sometimes entered cities disguised as pilgrims. If they found someone sleeping nearby, they robbed, or worse, killed them. So taverns kept strangers spaced apart, with thick curtains, wooden boards, or entire storage crates between them. The romantic idea of travelers sharing rooms? A dangerous myth. Aldrich closed the book slowly, his heart pounding. Everything he thought he knew about medieval taverns. The warmth, the camaraderie, the rustic charm. Was a modern fantasy. The truth? They were. Intelligence hubs ***, danger zones, sanctuaries, and battlefields of secrets. Marwan watched him carefully. You asked what medieval taverns really looked like, she said. And this is only one chapter. Aldrich nodded stiffly. One chapter left, he asked. Marwan smiled a slow, knowing smile. 5 more. The candlelight flickered. A distant door slammed. Someone shouted his name from outside. Aldrich closed the guild book. Because he suddenly felt like the tavern wasn't the only thing hiding secrets. The night the walls started whispering ***. Aldrich barely slept after reading the guild book. Every sound in the tavern suddenly felt sharper. Every laugh, every footstep, every mug hitting the table. Because once you learned that taverns were intelligence hubs, you realize something terrifying. Everyone inside is watching everyone else. And someone was now watching him. The whisper in the wall. The 7th night began with a draft. Cold air slipped across the floor, though no door had opened. Marwan noticed Aldrich's eyes narrowing. You hear it, don't you? She asked. Aldrich nodded. From behind the timbered wall, beyond the shelves of salted pork and dusty wine bottles, came a faint murmur. A voice. A whisper. Marwan didn't move. She simply lifted one finger to her lips and whispered back. They're listening. They always listen. Aldrich tensed. Who? The Watchers of the Guild. He swallowed hard. The name alone felt ancient, dangerous. The tunnel behind the hearth ***. Marwan led him to the tavern hearth, a huge stone fireplace blackened by 2 centuries of smoke. She grabbed the iron poker and tapped the stones rhythmically. 3 taps. Pause. 2 taps. The hearth shifted. Aldrich almost stumbled back as a section of stone slid aside, revealing a narrow, torchlit tunnel. The walls whisper because they're hollow, Marwan explained. Taverns had entire networks built behind them. Escape routes, listening chambers, and sometimes prisons. Aldrich stared into the darkness. This was all normal. For the ones who survived the business, Marwan replied. The Chamber of Shadows. They stepped inside. The air was cold, almost wet. The tunnel led them into a round chamber, carved from soil and stone. In the center lay a wooden wheel, marked with symbols he didn't recognize. Marwan touched its edge. This is the Wheel of Shadows. Every tavern in the guild used one. Aldrich leaned closer. It was divided into 12 sections. Debts. Sins. Feasts. Deaths. Rumors. Accusations. Confessions. Arrows. Spices. Moonlight. Strangers. Blood. What does it do? Aldrich whispered. Marwan spun it. The wheel slowed, clicking, clicking, until it stopped on rumors. A metal grate in the wall creaked open. Aldrich froze. Behind the grate, a dozen shimmering lines of parchment unfurled like scrolls, each covered in notes written in different hands, ink colors, and languages. These, Marwan said softly, are the rumors collected this week. Aldrich's pulse quickened. It was like stumbling onto a medieval intelligence database. A rumor with his name. Marwan pulled one scroll free. Aldrich's stomach dropped when he saw the top line. The outsider knows too much. He felt ice spreading across his chest. That can't be real. Who wrote that? Marwan's jaw tightened. A guard. A merchant. A rival tavern. Maybe a noble. Everyone uses taverns to spy on everyone else. Aldrich backed away instinctively. But as he turned, he realized something worse. This chamber had only one exit. The footsteps overhead. Above them, right above the stone ceiling. Slow, heavy footsteps began to walk. Not the busy taproom footsteps. Not drunken staggering. These were armored. Precise. A soldier's walk. Aldrich whispered. Marwan, are they looking for me? She blew out the torch. Darkness swallowed them. You wanted to know what medieval taverns truly were, she murmured. They were traps. And the only way to survive one was to understand who built the trap. The footsteps stopped. Something metallic scraped above. Aldrich clenched his jaw. Marwan, tell me. Who is trying to find me? Marwan's breath brushed his ear as she whispered. The Watchers aren't after you because of what you've learned today. They've been following you since the moment you stepped through the tavern door. Aldrich's heart stopped. And tonight, they finally made their move. The night of the Watchers ***. The chamber was pitch black. Not the soft darkness of a tavern at closing hour. But a thick, suffocating void where even breathing felt loud. Aldrich stood frozen, listening. The armored footsteps above had stopped. Silence pressed down like a weight. Marwan, he whispered, why are they after me? Her answer came slow, calm, too calm. Because you looked too closely at the things everyone else ignores. Aldrich's breath caught. That can't be enough to. It is, she interrupted. In the medieval world, the greatest crime wasn't killing a man. It was knowing the wrong truth. The hidden hatch ***. A faint metallic click echoed from somewhere in the darkness. Aldrich tensed. Marwen grabbed his wrist and pulled him deeper into the chamber. He stumbled over uneven stone as she whispered. Quickly. The Watchers don't knock. They enter. Aldrich felt her hand press against the back wall. And suddenly a square of cold air swept against his face. A hatch. She pushed him toward it. Go, she hissed. This tunnel leads under the street. Take it and don't look back. But Aldrich hesitated. Marwen, you're coming with me, right? She didn't answer immediately. Which scared him more than anything. The Watcher's descent. Suddenly. The ceiling above them groaned. A stone panel slid sideways, scraping like bone on bone. Dust rained down. Aldrich stared upward. A shape lowered through the opening. Not a soldier. Not a guard. A figure shrouded in a heavy hooded cloak, face hidden behind a black iron mask with no eye slits at all. Just a smooth, polished surface reflecting torchlight. A Watcher. Marwen inhaled sharply, barely audible. Aldrich whispered. What are they? Marwen replied through clenched teeth. Judges without names. Executioners without orders. They protect the guild from anyone who digs too deep. The Watcher landed silently, metal boots touching the chamber floor with impossible grace. It didn't speak. Didn't breathe. It simply tilted its head toward Aldrich. As if it could sense him through the darkness. Marwen steps forward. Aldrich's instincts screamed to run, but Marwen pulled his arm again. Keep your head down. Don't move unless I say. Then, to Aldrich's shock, she stepped between him and the Watcher. Guild law, she said firmly. Section 48. You cannot take a guest until their presence has been marked in the ledger. The Watcher's mask glinted. It seemed to think, or calculate. For a moment, Aldrich allowed himself to hope. Then the Watcher raised one gloved hand. It opened its fingers. Something small and metallic spun through the air. And landed on the chamber floor with a soft clink. Aldrich felt the blood drain from his face. It was his name token, the wooden disc Marwen had carved for him when he'd first arrived. Except now it was burned black. The sign of judgment. Marwen, he whispered. What does that mean? Her reply was barely audible. It means. They have already written your fate. The chamber shifts. Without warning, the walls around them trembled. Stone scraped. Timber groaned. The hidden tunnel Marwen had opened behind them suddenly slammed shut with a thunderous crack. The chamber was no longer a refuge. It was a sealed arena. Aldrich felt panic rise in his throat. The Watcher took one step forward. But that single step shook the entire room, as if the earth recognized the authority in its movements. Marwen whispered urgently. Aldrich. Listen to me. The Watchers don't chase people. The Watcher raised its hand again. They chase knowledge. Aldrich's pulse hammered. What knowledge? What did I do? Marwen turned to him, eyes wide and strangely sad. You discovered something in the ledger, something you didn't even realize you read. And if the Watchers think you saw it, they will follow you until the end of the earth. The Watcher stepped closer. Aldrich backed into the stone wall. "Marwan," he whispered, "what did I see?" A gust of cold air swept through the chamber. And the iron-masked face stopped inches from his own. "You saw," she said softly, "the truth about who built the taverns. And what purpose they truly served." Aldrich stared at her, breath trembling. "Then tell me. Who built them?" Marwan swallowed hard. "Aldrich. They weren't built for travelers." She took a deep breath. "They were built for watching *** them. The purpose of the taverns." Aldrich felt the words settle in his chest like a stone sinking into deep water. "They were built for watching them." Marwan's voice trembled, not with fear, but with the weight of a truth carefully hidden for centuries. The watcher stood motionless, its iron mask reflecting the trembling torchlight like a black mirror. It didn't need to speak. Its presence alone pushed the air thinner. Aldrich swallowed. "Watching who?" Marwan stepped backward until she stood beside him, her shoulder brushing his. "Travelers," she whispered. "Merchants. Soldiers. Foreigners. Messengers. Every soul who passed through medieval Europe." Aldrich's pulse quickened. "That doesn't make sense. Taverns were for rest, for food." Marwan shook her head. "That's the story they tell in modern books. But taverns were infrastructure ***. A network. A system of surveillance older than any kingdom, older than most written laws." Aldrich stared at her. "Surveillance? In the Middle Ages? That's impossible. You think spies are modern?" Marwan asked softly. "No, Aldrich. Surveillance began the moment people realized information was more valuable than gold. The first purpose, track movement." Marwan pointed upward, toward the ceiling where the watcher had descended. "When a stranger entered a town, the first place he went was the tavern. That made taverns the perfect trap. Tavern keepers were trained, not in cooking, but in observation." Aldrich felt a chill run through him. "Who trained them?" The watcher's mask shifted slightly, as if amused. Marwan answered. "The guild. And the guild served something far older than kings. The second purpose, record secrets." She stepped closer to the iron-masked watcher. "Every confession made in drunkenness. Every whispered rumor. Every deal sealed in a dark corner. Everything was recorded." Aldrich thought of the Wheel of Shadows. Of the rumor's scroll. Of his own name written on a burned token. "You mean," he whispered, "taverns were spy stations?" Marwan nodded. "The largest information network of the early world." Aldrich's stomach tightened. "But why me? Why would the watchers care about me?" "The third purpose, filter threats." The watcher raised a hand. Marwan instantly stepped in front of him again. She hissed at Aldrich. "Because you read something in the ledger you weren't supposed to. And even if you don't realize what it was, they think you saw it." Aldrich shook his head, panicked. "What did I read?" Marwan exhaled shakily. "You saw the missing chapter." Aldrich blinked. "The ledger didn't have a missing chapter." "Yes, it did," Marwan whispered. "And the watchers think you recognized it." Aldrich felt cold. "Then tell me. What was the missing chapter about?" Marwan looked him dead in the eyes. "It recorded the names of every person who ever threatened the guild. And how each one was eliminated. Aldrich's breath hitched. You mean, assassinations? Worse, Marwan whispered. Silences. Disappearances. Lives erased without leaving a trace. The Watcher took another step forward. Aldrich pressed against the wall. Marwan, tell me. Why was that chapter missing? Her voice dropped to a near-silent tremor. Because the guild never wanted anyone to know that. The disappearances didn't stop. Aldrich's heart pounded painfully hard. Meaning what? Marwan's eyes filled with dread. Meaning the guild still removes people. Even today. Even now. The Watcher's gloved hand reached toward Aldrich's chest. Marwan seized his arm. Aldrich, listen carefully. There is one way to survive a Watcher. Aldrich's voice cracked. Tell me. She leaned close to his ear. You must give them something more valuable than your life. The Watcher froze, waiting. Aldrich swallowed. What do I have that they'd want? Marwan looked at him with a strange mixture of pity and urgency. Not what you have, she whispered. What you know. Aldrich's breath trembled. But I don't know anything. Marwan shook her head. You know something. You just haven't realized it yet. The Watcher's fingers brushed Aldrich's shoulder. Marwan pushed him aside. Aldrich, think. What did you see in the ledger that shouldn't exist? Aldrich's eyes darted. The pages. The ink. The rules. The rumors. And then. The memory hit him. A single symbol. Something he saw for only a moment. A symbol burned into the margin of Rule 22. A symbol identical to the one on the Watcher's mask. Aldrich's eyes widened. Marwan, the ledger had something written in a language I've never seen before. She nodded urgently. Yes. And only one group in history ever used that script. Aldrich's voice lowered to a trembling whisper. Who? Marwan looked at the Watcher, then back at Aldrich. The ones who founded the guild. The ones who built the taverns. And the ones still controlling them. She took a breath. They weren't Europeans. Aldrich's heart froze. Then who? Marwan whispered. They were the Order Before Kings. Aldrich's pulse stopped. And the Watcher finally moved. The Order Before Kings ****. The words echoed in Aldrich's mind. The Order Before Kings. It sounded like a legend. A myth whispered only in the oldest taverns. A secret older than kingdoms, older than churches, older than the streets themselves. Marwan's eyes didn't blink. They existed before any crown. Before any law. They built the taverns not for trade, not for drink. But to watch, to record, and to control. Aldrich swallowed hard. Control, people. No, she corrected, voice low. Control knowledge. History. Memory. Life itself. The revelation of the map. Aldrich suddenly remembered the parchment, the strange map he'd seen. The one the traveler and the girl had protected. The map, he whispered, the one everyone wanted. It's not treasure, is it? Marwan shook her head slowly. Treasure is irrelevant. It leads to the hidden archives of the Order. Knowledge stored there is power beyond any king, any army, any church. Aldrich felt his knees weaken. So, the order still exists. Marwan's jaw tightened. Yes. And they are watching now. From the shadows, the watcher shifted. Its masked head tilted slightly, as if confirming her words. Aldrich's blood ran cold. Everything he thought he knew about medieval taverns was nothing compared to this. The guild book's secret. Marwan stepped back and gestured to the guild book. You thought it only recorded tavern rules, didn't you? Aldrich nodded. Yes, safety measures, noise, rumors. She slammed a hand on the leather cover. It recorded far more than that. Every disappearance. Every betrayal. Every soul marked by the order. Every tavern was a node in their network. Every ledger was a map of influence and surveillance. Aldrich ran his hands over the worn pages, feeling the ink still raised from centuries ago. It's insane, he whispered. Marwan gave a grim smile. Yes. And that's exactly why you're here. Because the Order believes you read something in it you were never meant to see. The true purpose of the Watchers. The Watcher stepped closer. Its boots made no sound on the stone floor. Its black iron mask reflected Aldrich's horrified face. Marwan's hand went to her dagger, steady. The Watchers, she whispered, aren't here to kill you, not yet. They are here to evaluate you. To determine if you can be allowed to know the truth, or if your knowledge must be erased. Aldrich's heart raced. Erased. Yes, she said simply. In the medieval world, knowledge can be more lethal than a sword. The choice. Marwan turned to him. You have a choice, Aldrich. You can leave, pretend you never saw the ledger, and survive. Or you can follow the path it opened. Learn the secrets of the Order. And risk everything. Aldrich glanced at the Watcher. It was waiting. Patient.